I realize I've been hitting this, but I haven't been doing the breathing with it. So then really what's the point? Because that's what it's supposed to be making us do, right? So, okay. Today, we're going to be talking about first-hand accounts. We talked about this last week, I think. So a first-hand account, something or somebody was actually there. They were there when it happened, like an eyewitness news story or some article in the newspaper for somebody who was there. So what your goals are, I'll be able to describe the features of first-hand accounts and identify features of first-hand accounts in Mount Vesuvius 79 CE. So we started Mount Vesuvius yesterday. We wrote a summary of the first, I think it was paragraphs 1 through 6. If you wanted to continue reading it, you could have. But we're going to go back and talk about first-hand accounts today and then find some examples of first-hand accounts in Mount Vesuvius. So let's get rolling. So, cord out of there, that's kind of annoying. To review the features of a first-hand account, these are the things that are normally in one. It's first person. It's an eyewitness point of view, so if it's first person, they use I, we, those type of things. Information is subjective. Subjective means it's somebody's opinion, right? It's not facts. This could be like where two people are at the same thing and somebody's a fan of it and somebody's not, like we talked about before, like the Super Bowl. If the team you wanted to win, won the Super Bowl, you would have a really different point of view than if the team you wanted to win lost the Super Bowl. Describes events the writer experienced. They're saying what happened to them. It contains personal thoughts and feelings usually, because they're talking about what it was like when they were there. And it may contain sensory language. The sensory are those 5 senses, so it's sight, sound, taste, touch, those type of things. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go through and find some examples of first-hand accounts in Mount Vesuvius, so these type of things, and then we're going to write how a first-hand account differs from an informational text. So I'm going to help you out just a little bit in the beginning. Let's stick this up here so you can still see it, kind of. Let's put it on the side. So we have this story about Pliny the Younger. We're going to start where actually the first-hand account starts, which would be page 24. So we're looking for how we're talking about first person, how it's subjective, it's describing the events, there's sensory language, personal feelings. So there's a lot of I, right? So that whole thing would be first-hand account, first-person point of view. So a lot of these things, like for many days, we had noticed a trembling of the earth, right? So it's something he noticed. He's talking about events that he experienced. He describes what he was thinking. I don't know whether I should call it behavior in this dangerous time, courage or folly. He talks about what he was doing. All of these things pretty much are describing a first-hand account, right? In the beginning, like I will relay the terrors and the dangers he's talking about, how it affected him. If I keep going, I'm going to look for maybe some sensory language in here. And descriptions. So like this. Here's a really good description. Above a black and dreadful cloud broken with rapid zigzag flashes revealed it behind it variously shaped masses of flame. So he's really describing what those flames look like. I'm just kind of skimming, you can too. The cloud began to lower and cover the sea. More description. This we haven't got to this chapter or this paragraph yet, but it's kind of sad. Like it says, soon afterwards, the cloud began to lower and cover the sea. It had already hidden the island of Capri and the promontory of Misenum. So it's this little part that stuck out. My mother now begged, urged, and even commanded me to make my escape. Because I was young, I could easily do that. As for herself, she said her age and weight made the journey impossible. However, she said she would willingly meet death as long as she did not cause mine. But I absolutely refused to leave her. First-hand account, right? I took her by the hand and forced her to go with me. She agreed reluctantly, but not without many instances of scolding herself for slowing my flight. So he's talking about how he's affecting his mom. The ashes now began to fall upon us, though at first not in great quantity. I looked back. A dense, dark mist seemed to be following us. It spread itself over the country like a cloud. So this whole time, he's describing what's happening to him, right? So now I'm going to go back. You can keep looking and find more if you want to. But how is it different from an informational text? So first-hand account is personal story of what's happening to Pliny the Younger. This would be an informational text about Mount St. Helens, right? It describes what happened. The volcano one we read, volcanoes, that's an informational text. So what you're going to do now is, how is this one, this Pliny the Younger, what's actually happening to him on this page 24 through whatever you want to read, how is that different from volcanoes, and how is that different from Mount St. Helens? And I can let you do that yourself. So what are the things you notice that are different? If you need to go back and look at volcanoes and the Mount St. Helens, you definitely can. You should have 3 to 5 sentences here describing the differences. Fourth grade sentences. Okay, so do that, and then we'll talk about the IXL we're going to work on. And today the IXL is just G3. So we're working on G3, comparing information from 2 texts. We are kind of comparing information with the lesson we did before, or at least the setup when we compare first-hand and accounts and informational text. Anyway, so first says, read a text about the Bermuda Triangle. On his way to America, Christopher Columbus noticed something strange about his compass. Its needle was moving in an unexpected manner. At the time, Columbus was sailing between Florida and the island of Bermuda. Today, this area of ocean is sometimes called the Bermuda Triangle. Spooky. If you haven't looked at the Bermuda Triangle, that'd be something to do if you're bored. Columbus was the only person to note strange happenings there. In 1945, 5 Navy planes disappeared all over the triangle. Years later, a ship vanished. Some people think that these things cannot be explained by science. Believe it or not, some think time travel takes place there. Others claim creatures from outer space are involved. No one knows for sure. So now looking for one detail that is included in the text. It's actually in there. Official maps don't recognize the Bermuda Triangle. Doesn't say anything about maps on here. So I don't think it's that one. The number of disappearances is nothing out of the ordinary. Doesn't say anything about that either. But it does say some think that aliens might be behind the disappearances, because it says this. Others claim creatures from outer space are involved, right? Somebody from outer space is an alien. So I'm going to submit that. Now here's the second text about the Bermuda Triangle. Many people believe that an area of ocean, the Bermuda Triangle, holds an unsolved mystery. This is because a large number of boats and planes have vanished there. People have come up with all kinds of strange ideas about these disappearances. However, there's nothing really mysterious about them. They are likely due to storms, rough waves, and human mistakes. Experts say that there is no more disappearances in the triangle than in other well-traveled seas. In fact, the U.S. Coast Guard doesn't even view the triangle as separate from the rest of the ocean. That's why you won't find it marked on an official map. And now, what 2 details are included in the text? These are the same ones from before. Official maps don't recognize the Bermuda Triangle. Well, I can go back and find that. You won't find it marked on official maps. It's right in the text. And then it said up here, people have come up. Experts say there are no more disappearances in the triangle than in other well-traveled seas. So that's the same thing as the number of disappearances, nothing out of the ordinary. This one does not talk about aliens, so I'm not going to select that. I already have my 2. Submit it. So now this is the next part. I'm going to compare the details. So I have the ones from the second and the one from the first. Who would likely agree that the Bermuda Triangle is worth studying further? So text 2, which says that the maps are even official, or it's not recognized, and disappearances are normal, or the guy who thinks there might be aliens, or girl. So who do you think would be more interested in studying the Bermuda Triangle? Well, I'm going to guess the person who thinks there might be aliens. This person doesn't seem like they think anything is weird or different about it, so they're probably not going to look into it. But if I think there's aliens that are doing these things, I probably want to learn more. So I'm going to say the author of text 1, right? Okay, let's do another one. I'm going to skip a level and do the next one. Scarlet fever. Many illnesses are easily treated today that were very scary in the past. Scarlet fever, a childhood illness related to strep throat, is one such disease. Scarlet fever is named for the red rash it causes. In the early 1900s, before there was medicine for scarlet fever, it often led to worse conditions. It could result in organ failure and lung problems. Patients also developed a strange condition called St. Vitus's dance, which made their limbs jerk. Your limbs are your arms and your legs. Given this history, today's parents may panic if their child comes down with scarlet fever. However, these days, people with scarlet fever can simply take antibiotic medicine, which they didn't have back in the old days. So, let's see what we think. What 3 details are included in the text? Today, in most cases, scarlet fever can be cured with antibiotics. Yeah, and we have that down here. Scarlet fever can simply take antibiotics. People were quarantined so scarlet fever wouldn't spread. It didn't talk anything about quarantine in here. Left untreated, scarlet fever can damage organs and cause lung problems. I remember reading that. Could result in organ damage and lung problems, so click on that one. And there's 3. In the early 1900s, there was no cure for scarlet fever. In the 1900s, in the early 1900s, there was no medicine for scarlet fever. So that's going to be another one. Second text. Scarlet fever comes from the same germ that causes strep throat. Scarlet fever was a serious problem in the early 1900s because there was no way to cure it. Without medicine, scarlet fever could cause lung, kidney, and heart problems. To prevent the disease from spreading, children with scarlet fever had to be quarantined. This meant they had to stay inside their homes until they were better. Not only that, but they weren't allowed to have visitors. Health department workers hung quarantine signs on people's front doors, warning others to stay away. Families often had to wait weeks for the quarantine to be lifted. Which ones are included? Doesn't talk about antibiotics here. They were quarantined. Yeah, there was a lot about quarantine. Could cause organ and lung problems. And it said that lung, kidney, and heart problems. That'd be your heart and your kidneys are organs. In the early 1900s, there was no cure for scarlet fever. And it says it right here. Right? So now, I have to sneeze, but I can't. Okay, anyway. By the details, so here they are. So text 1 had that, text 2 had that. They both had these ones. Who would be likely to agree that scarlet fever is much less dangerous today than it used to be? So I'm going to look for talking about which one talked about the cure today. And only text 1 did. It talked about fever can be cured with antibiotics. So I'm going to think, I predict that the author of, to make an inference, that's what I meant. I'm taking what it says and what I already know. That the author of text 1 is the one who believes that it's not as deadly because it can be cured with antibiotics. The other author didn't mention that. So that's what you're doing. You're reading through them carefully, and then you're taking what you found for each of them and comparing them. We do a lot of these in our unit tests. So and even our weekly tests sometimes. This is a great preparation for Unit 8. If you need any help, call, text, remind. We can hop on and do something together. Otherwise, get this done and have a fantastic afternoon. See ya.